Okay, it's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. I'm joined by Miles, head brewer of Harveys.
Good to see you.
Yeah, and you have something very, very special today. What have you got?
Well, this is Prince of Denmark, 7.5% ABV.
Yeah.
And it's brewed very much as beer would have been brewed in the 18th century. Very traditional recipe. The only thing about this is we don't mature it as long.
Yeah.
And this is what I'd call a sort of Imperial Stout Nouveau.
Yeah.
So it's more of a Baltic stout than an Imperial Russian stout.
Okay.
But this same beer, when it's aged for 18 months, becomes an Imperial stout for us.
Fantastic.
So it's a lovely, it's like Beaujolais Nouveau really against a Beaujolais.
You've got the stand here, the Harvey stand. I want to talk about the look of the beer first. Looking at the beer, it's got a lovely chocolatey coloured, tan coloured head, nice lacing on the glass, it's jet black in the colour, nice levels of carbonation. Can you add to that with the look of the beer?
It's brewed with brown, amber and black malt as well as pale ale malt, and very high hop rate on it. But on the look, I mean, that is derived totally from the brown, the amber and the black malt, and it has a very long boil in the copper, so it obviously concentrates it with a high original gravity of about 1106. So that's where you've got all the caramelization in the copper as well as the contribution from the malt to the colour.
Looks lovely. Did we get the aroma?
Yeah, lovely aroma on it. It's that sort of burnt, touches of tar and
sticky toffee.
Yeah. Very, very complex. And
raisin.
Yeah, raisin dates I've heard. Yeah. And also somebody once described it as blue cheese as well, but I don't quite get that today.
Not quite. I'd say more of the classic Imperial Stout, the chocolate, the coffees, the caramels. Yeah, I'm going to dive in and taste
leather
it.
as well.
Leather, yes. Miss Hopsy's filming, he mentioned leather in his review.
It is good. And as I say, an historic brew is very much a recreation of that style.
After the first taste, I got a great body, a really nice wrapping body around the palate, and then that helps then to kind of leaves the beer on the palate, so it leaves all of them flavours to really kind of push on and kind of stay there, and not kind of move away. They kind of stay there. The chocolates, the coffees, the caramels, it's raisiny, licoricey, really good beer, lovely mouthfeel.
Yeah, it's got a really full flavour when you first drink it, but the aftertaste is just as complex.
Yeah. And
goes through a range of different things. And a lingering, even bitterness from the hops, and they are a traditional hop grist of Fuggles and Goldings. Again, nearest thing one can get to the hops that would have been used for brewing in the 18th century when this sort of style of beer was introduced.
Moving on from the beer, just quickly, if I could have another 2 minutes with you, can you give a little 2 minutes of your brewing background, your history in brewing?
My own?
And then when it goes on to the brewery?
Okay. Well, my own family were brewers in London in 1740. We were in South London, Jenner's South London Brewery, and the family sold the brewery in 1938. My father had just qualified as a brewer, found a job at Harveys, so I grew up with that as a background, and I joined Harveys after I'd been training with Green King, which in the 1970s was a lovely experience. I had a great time there. Came back to Harveys in 1980, was made head brewer in 1986, and have been with them ever since.
Fantastic, great. Miles, thank you very much for joining me on my channel.
Great pleasure. Good luck with it. You're going to do some more interviews, I presume.
Yeah, absolutely. We will do.
Marvellous occasion. Thanks for asking me.
Cheers.
All the best.
Cheers.
Bye.